"We've put you on the patio, dear," my mother said with that particular smile she reserved for her disappointments. "The main dining room is for, well, you understand." I glanced through the French doors of the country club's exclusive dining room, where my more successful siblings were already gathered around the table for Dad's 70th birthday celebration. Crystal glasses clinked as they toasted their latest achievements, designer labels gleaming under the chandelier light. "Of course," I replied softly, smoothing my simple black dress, expensive but understated, unlike my sister Rebecca's ostentatious Versace or my brother Michael's flashy Tom Ford suit. "It's just..." Mom adjusted her pearls nervously. "With your immodest career choices, we thought you'd be more comfortable out here, away from all the business talk." Modest career choices. That's what they called building a tech empire in secret while they thought I was just doing something with computers. "The patio is for failures," Michael called out through the open door, raising his champagne glass with a smirk. "But hey, at least you can watch the real success from out there, sis." I checked my phone discreetly, 3 missed calls from my executive team about the emergency board meeting. The acquisition we'd been working on for months had suddenly accelerated. $8 billion hung in the balance, but my family was too busy celebrating their small victories to notice my silent empire. "Did you hear about Michael's new partnership?" Mom gushed as she arranged my patio place setting like an afterthought. $20 million in new business. And Rebecca's fashion line is being featured in Vogue. I nodded politely, thinking about the contract sitting in my private jet waiting to be signed. The one that would make their achievements look like pocket change. "And you, dear?" He paused, struggling to show interest. "How's your computer thing going?" "It's fine," I said, the same answer I'd given for years while building my company from scratch. Let them think I was struggling. Let them seat me on the patio. The helicopter would be here soon enough. My sister Rebecca sashayed out, champagne in hand. "Oh, darling, you really should let me help you with your wardrobe. This simplicity, it's not doing you any favors. How can you expect to be taken seriously?" I suppressed a smile, thinking about the Forbes cover shoot scheduled for next month. Tech's newest billionaire, the silent empire of Catherine Chin. The headline would certainly be interesting reading for the family. "And really," she continued, eyeing my subtle makeup and understated jewelry, "you could at least try to look successful. Fake it till you make it, though I suppose in your case the making it part seems unlikely." My phone buzzed again, my CFO this time. "Deal terms improved. Urgency critical. On helicopter." 20 minutes, I texted back, watching my family's self-congratulatory celebration through the glass. Inside, Dad was holding court, beaming as Michael detailed his latest impressive real estate deal. "Now that's how you build a legacy," he declared, raising his glass. "To real success." The toast echoed through the dining room, none of them noticing that I didn't raise my water glass in response. They never noticed much about me, really. Not my graduated degrees, not my strategic investments, not the way I'd quietly built something far bigger than their combined achievements. "Catherine," my father called out through the open door, his voice carrying that familiar note of disappointment, "Sure you won't join us?" Michael's about to share his vision for expanding the family business. The family business, a modest real estate firm that Michael had been running into the ground while claiming unprecedented success. The same firm I'd secretly bought through a shell company last month, though they wouldn't know that until the papers were signed tonight. "I'm fine here," I replied, checking my watch. 15 minutes until everything changed. "Your loss," Michael shrugged, launching into his grand plans. "We're looking at a potential $50 million in development deals next year. Of course, that kind of success requires a certain understanding of real business." I heard the distant whir of helicopter blades as my phone lit up with another urgent message. "Board assembled. Waiting on CEO." Did anyone else hear that? Rebecca frowned, peering through her champagne glass at the darkening sky. The sound grew louder as my sleek black helicopter approached, my company's Phoenix logo clearly visible on its side. "Who on earth?" my mother started, but her voice trailed off as the helicopter began its descent onto the country club's lawn, sending the perfectly manicured garden furniture scattering. Through the glass, I watched champagne glasses freeze halfway to lips as my family stared in disbelief. The next few minutes would certainly be interesting. The helicopter's blades slowed as my security team emerged, their earpieces and professional demeanor a stark contrast to the country club's stuffy atmosphere. Through the glass doors, I could see my family's expressions shifting from annoyance to confusion to dawning realization as my head of security approached me on the patio. "Miss Chin," he said crisply, "the board is assembled. Time-sensitive situation requires your immediate attention." "Of course, James," I replied, standing up from my isolated patio table. "The acquisition papers are ready." "Yes, ma'am. $8 billion pending your signature. The markets in Asia open in 3 hours." The sound of shattering glass drew my attention. Michael had dropped his champagne flute, his face draining of color as he processed the numbers being discussed so casually on his designated failure patio. "$8 billion, my mother whispered, her perfectly manicured hand clutching her pearls. "Catherine," my father stepped onto the patio, his authority wavering for the first time in my memory. "What exactly is going on?" I smiled, pulling out my phone to display the breaking news alert that had just popped up. Breaking. Tech giant Phoenix Industries in final stages of historic acquisition, CEO Catherine Chin to close $8 billion deal. "Just some business that needs my attention," I replied casually, enjoying the way Rebecca's designer heel wobbled as she stumbled backward. "You know, my little computer thing you never bothered to ask about." But you're not." Michael sputtered, his dreams of 50 million suddenly looking rather small. "You can't be the CEO of Phoenix Industries?" I finished for him. "The same Phoenix Industries that's been buying up tech companies across 3 continents? The one that's about to close the largest acquisition in the industry this year." I paused, letting it sink in. "The one that secretly bought your struggling real estate firm last month?" The patio fell silent except for the gentle whir of the helicopter's idling blades. "You bought our company?" My father's voice cracked. "Through a shell corporation," I nodded. Michael's unprecedented success was actually unprecedented failure. The books were a mess. Luckily, I was there to save the family legacy before he bankrupted it completely. Rebecca stepped forward, her Versace dress suddenly looking gaudy rather than impressive. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Tell you?" I laughed softly. "Like when you told the country club I was finding myself with my cute little startup? Or when Michael told his business partners not to waste time on my amateur tech projects?" My phone buzzed again, another urgent message from my executive team. The situation really was time-sensitive, but I was enjoying this moment too much to rush. "Miss Chin," James reminded me gently, "the board is waiting." Of course, I picked up my simple leather briefcase, the one Rebecca had mocked as tragically unfashionable just hours earlier. "Dad, I'm afraid I'll have to cut the birthday celebration short. $8 billion waits for no one, not even family disappointments exiled to the patio." "Wait," my mother called out, her social climbing instincts kicking in. "Perhaps we should rearrange the seating. The head of the table is really more appropriate for someone of your position." "Now you want me at the head of the table?" I turned back, watching their faces. After years of backhanded comments? After relegating me to the patio because my modest career choices embarrassed you? After treating me like the family failure because I didn't brag about my success? Michael stepped forward, his deal-maker smile plastered on. "Sis, we should discuss this. Maybe explore some synergies between our businesses." "You mean the business I already own?" I raised an eyebrow. "The one you ran into the ground while boasting about your brilliant leadership? That business." The sound of another helicopter approaching drew everyone's attention. My CFO's arrival with the final contracts right on schedule. "2 helicopters?" Rebecca whispered, her grip on her champagne glass turning her knuckles white. "The second one's just bringing paperwork," I said casually, watching their eyes widen further. "When you're closing an $8 billion deal, you need proper transportation." The days following my dramatic exit from Dad's birthday party were a symphony of desperate attempts at reconciliation and damage control from my family. My phone buzzed constantly with their messages. "Michael, we should discuss the real estate firm's future. I have some innovative ideas." "Rebecca, darling, let me style you for the Forbes shoot. Your simplicity is so last season." "Mom, the club is buzzing about your helicopters. The Vandermiltons want to host a gala in your honor." "Dad, Princess, I always knew you had potential. Let's talk about your role in the family legacy." I forwarded them all to my assistant with one note. Archive under too little too late. The morning papers were deliciously satisfying. Tech's hidden billionaire. The quiet rise of Catherine Chin. Phoenix Industries CEO closes $8 billion deal from country club lawn. From patio to penthouse. How a family's failure built an empire. Sitting in my corner office 50 stories above the city, I watched the business news channels scramble to tell my story. The modest woman who'd built a tech empire while her family dismissed her as a failure was apparently quite newsworthy. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. Your sister is in the lobby again. She's carrying what appears to be a peace offering from Hermes. Let me guess, I smiled. The same bag she told me was aspirational for someone of my means last Christmas? The very same. Should I send her up? I glanced at my schedule, specifically at the meeting with international investors who were eager to back my next venture. My net worth had jumped another $1 billion since the acquisition. Not that my family's gifts could reflect that yet. No, I decided. But please give her my business card. My real business card. I could imagine Rebecca's face as she read my actual title for the first time. Catherine Chin CEO and founder Phoenix Industries. The same company that had been making headlines across global markets while she was busy critiquing my wardrobe choices. My phone rang, Dad this time. I put it on speaker while reviewing acquisition proposals. Catherine, his voice had lost its usual patronizing tone. We need to discuss the family business. Now that we know about your resources. Which business? I asked innocently. The tech empire you never noticed I was building? Or the real estate firm I had to rescue from your golden child's mismanagement? Both, he said quietly. I may have underestimated you. They have. I laughed softly. Like when you said I was hiding from real success in my tech startup. Or when you told the board I wasn't ambitious enough for the family business. I was wrong, he admitted, probably the first time those words had ever left his lips. Yes, I agreed. You all were. And that was the greatest gift you could have given me. What do you mean? While you were all busy looking successful, I was busy becoming successful. While you chased appearances, I built substance. While you networked at country clubs, I created actual value. The best part? None of you saw it coming because you were too busy feeling superior. My assistant appeared in the doorway, signaling that my investors were arriving. I have to go, I told Dad. Unlike some people, I actually built my success instead of just talking about it. Wait, he said quickly. Your mother's hosting a family dinner tonight. Can't make it, I cut him off. I'm closing another acquisition. But feel free to discuss Michael's 50 million dreams without me. I'm sure they sound very impressive from the patio. The next day, I received a flood of texts as my family apparently discovered my feature in Fortune magazine. Michael, this changes everything. We should strategize. Mom, darling, I always knew you had potential. I forwarded them all to a special folder labeled Patio Memories, and turned my attention to the acquisition proposals on my desk. One in particular caught my eye. An opportunity to buy the country club where they'd exiled me to the patio. My phone buzzed with another message, this time from the family group chat I'd been excluded from for years. Emergency family meeting tonight. Mandatory attendance. We need to discuss the future of the Chin family enterprises. I replied with a single message, can't attend. Too busy being successful in my own way. But feel free to book a meeting through my office. I believe there's an opening next quarter. On the patio, of course. Then I called my real estate team. The country club? Make the offer. And when they accept, change the seating policy. From now on, success doesn't have a designated dining room. The next morning, my family arrived at their favorite lunch spot to find new ownership notices on the doors. A Phoenix Industries property, Catherine Chin CEO. Sometimes success doesn't need to be announced with designer labels and champagne toasts. Sometimes it just needs to be revealed at exactly the right moment, when those who doubted you finally realize that the person they banished to the patio now owns the entire club. Me. I went back to work in my modest office, which by the way now commanded views of half the city's skyline. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's letting them slowly discover just how right you were all along. The emergency board meeting they dismissed as unimportant? It added another billion to my net worth. The helicopters they'd stared at in shock? Just two of the fleet I used to manage my global empire. The simple black dress they'd mocked? Customized couture that cost more than Michael's annual salary. But the best part wasn't the money or the power or even the sweet taste of vindication. It was the knowledge that while they'd been posturing and preening and playing at success, I'd built something real. Something lasting. Something that didn't need designer labels or country club approval to prove its worth. The next time I received an invitation to a family function, it came with a handwritten note. Head of the table reserved for you. No patio seating available. I sent back my regrets along with a copy of my latest acquisition report. Sorry, busy buying another company. But feel free to discuss it over champagne, preferably the kind that doesn't shatter when you hear big numbers. Because in the end, success isn't about where you sit at dinner. It's about owning the whole restaurant. And the building it's in. And maybe, if you're feeling particularly nostalgic, the patio where they once thought they could hide their shame. Welcome to my empire. Patio seating not required.